Hi guys, it's Fred here, and in today's video I'm going to explain how to fix your back pain and get back to sport in 20 minutes using this example of a client I've worked with, Fleur, who was really struggling with back pain. She tried a lot of other things, physios, coaches, etc., and she loves playing rugby, and that's what she wanted to get back to. And I'm going to take you through the exact step-by-step process we used to get her back to rugby that you can implement and use with any sport or activity if you're struggling with back pain. So this is a real review. I've screenshotted it just because I know there is a lot of stuff on the internet that is made up. If you don't believe me, you can just type in Fred Catley rehabilitation on Google and you'll be able to find it. So let's jump into it without further ado. Step one. Now I think this seems very obvious, but it's a thing that everyone doesn't really think about, and it's why potentially you failed fixing your back pain in the past. What is your end goal? This could be playing a sport, rugby, football, running, whatever it may be, or it may be something else. Maybe you work at a desk for long hours, and maybe your goal is that you just want to be pain-free within your working hours, or you just want to be pain-free doing daily activities. So you're not in agony all the time. You're not stressed out. It's not bothering you, and you can be more productive and happier in your day-to-day life. Then once you have that goal, then we need to reverse engineer the rehab process. So using Fleur as the example, her end goal was that she wanted to get back to training and playing rugby matches without her lower back bothering her. So it wasn't necessarily pain-free, but obviously in order to do that, we had to get her more mobile, stronger, fitter, more confident, faster, all of these different things, alongside some education about the causes of back pain and some useful things to manage flare-ups and understand it a bit better. So that was the end goal with Fleur, and because she was very clear on that, then over a particular time frame, in this case it was about 6 months, we could reverse engineer the process and then therefore get this result at the end. So step one, I had a call with her, 20-30 minutes to chat through all the things I mentioned here, and then we went into a simple movement assessment. So I'll just get this up for you. People really overcomplicate, especially back pain. So all I asked her to do, it was just on an app on her phone. She just sent over a few videos of some simple bodyweight movements. So we looked at her squat from a few different angles. I'll just fast forward this so we haven't got to, I don't bore you with it. We looked at some rotations, so looking at how her whole body rotates, her feet, her hips, her spine. Very, very simple. We looked at her side bending, so again, how her spine and hips are moving, where there's potential limitations side to side, and if that was linked to her back pain or not. We looked at her toe touch. So a common misconception with this is that we're looking for range of motion, so i.e. a good toe touch is if she can touch the floor, but really I'm not really bothered about that. I'm looking at how she's touching the floor. Again, the relationship between her spine and her hips. How much of her hips is she using? How much of her spine is she using? Where does she flex through her spine? Where does she stay straight through her spine? A lot of different things. Front angle, and then extension as well. And there are a few different ones, but this just gives you an example. So it was a really simple assessment that she did. And from that, I then had enough data to put together a bespoke rehab plan. Now, with the bespoke rehab plan, the first thing that we focused on was improving her movement quality. Now, a really key concept that I like to get into people early on with any injury, but particularly back rehab, is if we can get your bones moving well, then your muscles have no choice but to move well. Now, this sounds like a bit of a weird thing, but if you focus on just stretching a tight muscle, you need to think about why that muscle is tight in the first place. Now, in a lot of cases, that muscle is tight because a bone isn't moving particularly well, and then as a response to that, that muscle has to overcompensate or stay tight, stay in a stretch position or in a shortened position to accommodate for that. So if we can get the bones moving well at your spine, and at your hips in particular with back pain, then everything else sorts itself out. So I'll just bring this up. A few demonstrations of the drills we were doing. This was just a nice breathing one. So this was getting her spine moving, but also getting some compression and expansion through her rib cage. So some breathing, which is again really underrated to get her to relax, and it reduces a lot of back pain in the early stages of rehab. So some of these were daily things that she did, and other ones were just things she did before her strength sessions, so 3 times a week. The daily stuff was only about 5 to 10 minutes. It was just targeted, so it was effective. And this is a particular one for her hip, where we're getting her to shift one side of her hip over and then get some nice contractions in her groin. So it's a little bit of a strength exercise, but still more mobility. Then we have a nice hip lock one here. Again, getting the bones in her hip moving well, which will then contribute to better muscle function and then also reduce a lot of back pain, just get her moving better. And then we also had a nice kind of side bend here, which we're looking at getting the spine and the hips moving together a bit better. Again, nothing complex, really, really simple stuff. So that was the main focus early on. Then from there, towards the mid and late stages of rehab, there was a bigger focus on strength and plyometrics. So early on, we still did a lot of strength and plyometrics. It just wasn't the main focus. We cleaned up our movement patterns first, and then the main focus was strength and plyometrics. So if you don't know, plyometrics is jumping, bounding, change direction, sprinting, all those different things which she needs to be able to do in rugby. And obviously take contact in rugby as well, and her back to be okay with that. So again, loads of exercises that we used. We did a 3-day split with her, and this varied between 3 full body strength days where we were looking at lower and upper body strength. And then we also experimented and implemented a split where we used 1 lower body day, 1 upper body day, and a full body strength day. So this just varied depending on the time during rehab. So here we had some box squats, really simple. Some single leg work, starting off nice and light. Some stuff for her hamstrings, lying on her back in a very easy position and one that isn't going to stress her back loads. So this was nice. And she's warming up for some upper body stuff here, some pressing, some rows here, some lateral raises here, really simple stuff. And then the plyos, a lot of it was med ball stuff. So getting her spine bending, getting it used to taking a lot of load. We also had some jumping here. So some broad jumps, she fell over doing that. I think that was the first time doing it. Then we had some reverse lunges, a load of different things, some more squats, some push press here, I believe. So again, a more dynamic overhead movement, really, really simple. She pretty much did all this in her garage. She had a few barbells, a barbell and a few bits of weights, some dips, all really simple stuff. And again, some more plyos here where she was using a med ball just to slam in different positions. So very, very simple again. So I'll just write it down again just to kind of clear this up. So the mobility was 5 minutes daily, and then it was also plus at the start of strength sessions. So start of strength sessions. Then the strength and plyos was 3 times a week. And usually these sessions were around 60 minutes. So they start with some mobility work. Then we go into plyos, med balls, jumping, and then we finish with strength. And with the strength, we'd start with the compound movements. So the bigger movements that are using a lot of muscle groups, squats, hinging, deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, and then into more accessory-based work for individual and smaller muscle groups. So once we've done that, step 5, retest plus adjust. So with back rehab, I give people 5 phases to go through, and Each of these phases roughly lasts anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks. And at the end of each of these phases, we simply retest. So we have a look at this movement assessment again, and maybe a few other little bits in terms of strength, depending on where you're at in the process. Retest, see what's improved, what hasn't, what do we need to adjust. And then Fleur simply moved into phase 2. Completed phase 2, met the criteria, retested, adjusted. 3, 4, 5. It was really that simple over the 6-month period. So when you have a system like this, it makes rehab very predictable. Now, it's not going to be completely predictable all the time because back pain is complex and sometimes you get flare-ups and sometimes rehab doesn't go to plan. I'm not saying this rehab was perfect. Usually no rehab is perfect. But if we get little flare-ups and Fleur doesn't feel good on a particular day, then we go back to the system, we readjust, and then we give her a plan A, B, and C depending on what she's doing on a particular day. So if the back isn't feeling great in a particular movement, we can still get the same stimulus, but just use a different movement. So what I'm getting at here, and what a lot of you are struggling with, the mistake that everyone makes really, is that you don't have a system. And I've used these red arrows to indicate that this is not good, very simply. It's a bit worse than not good, but you get my point. Because if you don't have a system, you're just guessing. You're guessing with random exercises on YouTube. You're guessing with random stretches. You're guessing with going to get massage, going to get hands-on treatment. And deep down, you probably know that that isn't going to get you mobile enough, strong enough, fast enough to get back to sport, especially. Because you need to be in very, very good shape to get back to sport after an injury. Very simply. And the other thing that I want to add on that we also did with Fleur that I have forgotten, and it is quite a big thing here, is I'll just stick it down here, is education, which I did mention previously. Education. So we just talked a little bit about pain, back pain, and potentially why she was getting back pain, but also things to watch out for, but also things to accept, but don't hyper obsess over. So for example, in regards to pain, we talked about how more pain doesn't equal more damage. So pain is incredibly complex and can be influenced by a lot of different things. So we talked about improving her sleep, for example. Nutrition, is that in check? Especially if you're training a lot and you're an athlete and you're an active person. Just general stress day to day, like, are you incredibly stressed all the time? Like, obviously, stress is a normal part of life, but is it having a bigger impact than you think, potentially? How many previous injuries have you had? Fleur had a few previous lower body injuries and niggles that were definitely affecting her lower back pain as well. Lower limb injuries. So all these different things. So that was important because when you do get flare-ups with back pain, you can then kind of reason, is this flare-up okay? You know, is it just because of maybe I had poor sleep, maybe I didn't eat well, maybe I drank more than I should have done on the weekend, or is this something more serious that I need to speak to my physio or coach about? So that was an important one. Another important thing was that the body is incredibly resilient, and over time, if we can simply just gradually increase the amount of load that the body is being exposed to, then, so this is load, then pain will usually have the inverse equation. So pain will then usually decrease as a byproduct. Yeah? So if we can get someone, I mean by load, if we can get someone moving very, very well, and then we can load them up with a lot of strength and a lot of plyometric work and get them back to their sport, then pain will decrease as a byproduct. This might take a long period of time. So I know with Fleur, we saw significant improvements in pain in the first kind of 3 to 4 weeks. But then we didn't see the next significant improvement until kind of like week 12. Yeah? And depending on how long you've had back pain for, so 6 months, so this was, let's do the maths here, Fred, 24 weeks. So if you've been dealing with back pain for a long period of time, you know, this could take a few years. If you've been dealing with back pain for like 10, 20 years and it's chronic, it could take you a few years to get to that point. But that's the relationship that you need to understand. Perfect. So I'm a little bit short on that, 20 minutes, done it in 15, which is great. Any questions, just stick them in the comments down below. And if you are interested in working with me, you can book a free discovery call via the link down below. Take care.